I'm your host, PT747, and thank you for joining me. Guys, I'm excited. Had a great morning this morning. And man, I can't wait to get started talking about some of the topics we have today. But before I get started, I had this giveaway, and the idea of the giveaway was more of a celebration. About a year ago, I started the neXup and didn't really know what I wanted to do with it. I know I enjoy talking about technology, mainly smartphones and Android. I came from Droid forums where I used to write articles for them. I used to help people out when they had problems with rooting their phones. And I remember kind of just coming off that period of transition from there, from trying to start kind of like a Droid forums kind of podcast. And to be fair, it was kind of to mirror some of the podcasts I saw out there that was talking Android, because I enjoyed doing that. And then it moved to the knuckleheads talking tech, and that didn't quite pan out, mainly because, I was still kind of trying to figure out where we wanted to go. And I say we, but I, and as well as Drone Wolf, who I was doing the podcast with, we would all kind of go in different directions. And plus what he had going on with his drone business, with me still not quite figuring out what I wanted to do with it. It ended up becoming a transition period. And I went back to what kind of started me into my excitement was just writing. I started writing articles and getting back to that, and, started throwing out some YouTube videos here and there. But, I realized that for me, I just enjoyed popping on the mic and just talking, and as much as I do some of these YouTube videos and I want to get better at it and continue on working on, just getting that right, it's nothing like just being able to just pop on the computer, hit the record button and just talk and really express the excitement or what's going on in your mind, and not have to do the prep time for lights and getting this right and getting the angle and worry about the background. Just be able to talk. And that's kind of why I really enjoy doing this podcast, because, I can go through the week kind of preparing for it, getting everything ready and deciding what I want to talk, but I can just turn it on and go. And there's just so much that, especially in this field of technology with things coming out and the new tech, I just excited to really get into it and express my ideas, my thoughts, and kind of see where we go with it. But yeah, that transition of starting up the neXup website and trying to get it going and writing articles and eventually doing the podcast and growing through that with my YouTube channel. And yes, and next week I'm actually going to talk about the things I've learned going through this and my goods and bads throughout the years that I've learned. But just to be able to go through that transition and get to this point and continue to grow is something I enjoy doing. And without further ado, I want to announce the winners of the contest. And basically what I did for the giveaway, the main thing originally was to give away a Google Stadia. And then, the more and more I thought about it, I wanted to do more for those who, one, didn't care for the Stadia, and two, just offer up more opportunities for people to win. And it started out again as just a Stadia. And then my brother, he decided he wanted to gift a mic set, so he threw that in there. And then we got some Apple cards thrown in there. So this is basically how it's going to pan out. So here are your winners of the Stadia contest. So the grand prize winner, the one who won the Google Stadia, is Juan Gomez. So I actually sent out an email and I hit him up on Twitter. So if you're paying attention, please hit me back. I am not going to spam you. All I want to do is find a way I can get you your prize. I want to mail this stuff out today so I can get these prizes to you guys before Christmas. The second winner for the $50 Google Play gift card is Tabby. I actually reached out to her via email and sent her gift card via Amazon. The third winner is Sonaket. I'm actually know him from the Discord, so I should be able to get a hold of him and get an address for him. Mariah won a $30 gift card. Leon White won the Apple gift card. And the following won $10 gift cards: Laura Smith, Steven, Silas Jose Hunt, and Zach. And those of you with the $10 gift cards, I did hit you guys up or sent those through Amazon through the email address you listed. Once you guys confirm your email address, I will discard your emails. I do not want to have any issue with you getting spammed. I gave you a promise. You enter my contest, it will only be used to get you your winnings. After that, that's it. I'm not going to be bugging you for anything else. I don't feel that's something I want to do. You guys saw my website. I actually hope you guys visit in the future, but I'm not looking to spam you. Now, as far as these prizes, I enjoy doing these giveaways. This was fun and it was exciting. I actually started out prepping for my podcast this morning, just doing final preps, and I knew I had the podcast coming towards the end. I thought, we had a couple more days, but I actually went to the website just to go ahead and check some stuff out and realized, oh man, the giveaway had ended. So I wanted to go through all that to make sure we picked a winner. So the program picked the grand prize winner, but I had to use another program to go ahead and start picking the other winners. And those of you who, want proof of who won what, I actually have recorded that I did capture it so it was fair. It wasn't one of those things where, I just cherry picked someone. No, it was actually a fair giveaway. And if anyone wants proof of that, I have no problem showing that to you. But thanks again, guys, for you entering. Again, I enjoy doing this contest, and I want to do one every month. Now, I'm not going to be able to do, to this scale of giving everyone a gift and this many prizes, but I want to do a giveaway once a month for something. And, I will look into how we'll do that and how that will pan out. But let's go ahead and get started talking about, or give you an idea what we're going to be talking about. So first thing first, there are a lot of leaks out there, and I'm going to kind of talk about that. Now, I am not going to jump so much into, the leaks in general, because I decided I kind of want to wait till next year. And there's a reason for that. We're just now getting a chance to really enjoy all the devices that were released this year. People are going out right now around Christmas time, trying to pick up the latest iPhone or the Galaxy S10s or whatever you're picking up. And, you want to be able to at least enjoy that 1 month before people start popping out talking about the next phone. Let's let these guys enjoy it. So I'm kind of going to hold off on any talks on lease until the start of next year. And the other topic I want to talk about, Marquez Brownlee, he did a blind camera test. It's his second annual one. And, there's some good info that was brought up on that I think is worth noting. And lastly, we're going to have to do some Stadia talk. Google Stadia pretty much has been the dominant topic this week. And I have a Stadia. We're giving away a Stadia. And I have some things I want to say about that. But again, thank you for joining the neXup podcast. You can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, iHeart, upload to YouTube, and also on my website, neXup.com. So guys, let's go ahead. Let's get started. My first topics. And basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of take a look back and talk about some of my favorite leaks and articles that I wrote this year, in pertaining to phone leaks. Because, when you go back, that's what I actually did when I was going and writing this article, look back at the beginning of the year and kind of recapture kind of excitement and the thoughts that were going through my head when there was some of these leaks that were coming out there. And really, some of these leaks panned out and lived up to the hype, and some of them didn't. And I want to go ahead and start talking about it. And I'm going to start with my first one. And I want to talk about the Pixel 4 S10 renders. And I say S10 because the S10 had just got released. And there was this excitement about it. Here's this phone where we got rid of the notch. We kind of had the hole punch display, but we was able to get around. A lot of people were able, okay, we can get around that. We have more display. We're gravitating away from the notch, which is something we wanted these manufacturers to do, and it looked really good. And having came off the Pixel 3 XL, where you had the most obnoxious notch. I mean, people made fun of it for, months. It still made fun of it. Where Other companies had sort of a little notch or tried to do somewhat to hide it, where OnePlus had the teardrop notch to kind of, try to hide it a little bit or make it not as obtrusive. Here you come with the Pixel 3 XL, and this thing was huge. I mean, it took up way too much space. And it got to the point where we're like, all right, are you guys even trying here? Or are you just really making us upset? Now, people understood later on that one of the reasons why the notch was so big, which at least what Google put out there, was so that they can have more space for the front-facing camera. Because the front-facing camera did provide some high-quality photos, and that was the reason for it. It was to make way for it. They needed the space for it, and that's how they went about doing it. So even seeing that, we was kind of hoping, all right, maybe, just maybe, Google would catch up to what some of these other manufacturers were putting out there. So back in around April, actually before February, we started seeing leaks, and some of these leaks started showing, they say the first ones that here we are with a phone that looked just like the S10 and the back looked like the Pixel phone. And it really felt like maybe this could be where we're going to see the Pixel go. But then after that, we kind of started seeing more pictures where it kind of, debunked the idea that we would have a teardrop phone or not teardrop, but the hole punch type display for the Pixel 4. And we're going to probably have more similar to one where, similar to the LG phone, where it really wasn't much of a notch. And in fact, it was more just similar to the Galaxy S, or not the Galaxy S2, but the Pixel 2 XL, where you kind of had that top area there. But unlike the S2, it showed pictures where you had more of a display where the bottom part of it or the bottom chin wasn't as bad. So when you start seeing kind of renders of that, it was like, all right, we're not quite getting that hole punch display. But right now, I'm kind of liking what we're seeing. It's not as bad. It's something I could live with. Early on, it's something that's worth getting excited about. And then the hype continued as you started seeing pictures of it, making its way to the wild. You started seeing a leaked photo of someone holding it in their hand or on their lap in a park, or I think on the subway. And they were just so much excited about what this phone could do. We started hearing about Soli potentially being in there, and just the more and more we started seeing these leaks come out, the more and more excited we started to get for this phone. And I know myself, I wrote several articles and done several podcasts just dedicated to talk about the latest leak for the Pixel 4. Because me being a Pixel fan, I was excited. Haven't been 3 pixels in, been very disappointed in the Pixel 3 XL, and I'm like, these guys gotta get it right? You cannot go 5 phones in or 4 phones in and just straight up butcher all 4 of them. There is no way you guys are going to turn it around. You just bought HTC, employees a couple years back to kind of try to boost your, device to make it better. So are we going to finally be able to see those come to fruition? Are we going to see the fruits of that? And that's what we was kind of hoping. I was hoping for that. And, seeing these pictures and seeing kind of the rumors coming out about what we can potentially have, we could finally have a phone get to that point. And unfortunately, here we are in Pixel 4 in hand, and it didn't pan out. A very big disappointment. And this goes back kind of, I guess, what I said last week, where a lot of times when it comes to leaks and, hype beasting, it's more exciting than what we actually get. And this was a big example of it. And I really was hoping that, Google finally figured it out, finally understood the audience, understood their customer base, and was really willing to go out there and put a phone that could compete with the market, give us what we're asking for, something that was worth our dollars, with all these other manufacturers out there putting out better phones, better devices, doing more to at least justify their $1,000 price point. We saw that with Apple putting out a better phone overall. Even OnePlus, people was kind of complaining, well, you guys for more money, but they gave us a better phone. and worth something buying, and I was really hoping to see Google really do that this year, and was very disappointed to see that. The other leak that kind of excited me, and this was kind of early. This actually dropped around April, and we started seeing the Motorola Razr leaks. Now, the phone hasn't officially been dropped yet, as it'll drop in 5 or 6 days on the 26th of December. But seeing early leaks of this and renders of it, and kind of seeing just how it may look, I was excited in the potential because of the idea that we may be entering the era of the folding phones. And this was coming off of CES. We started seeing in CES, we had the Royal Flex Pi kick everything off. And, we first saw that a lot of people were like, all right, this is kind of big and janky, not quite something we, looking for. But hey, they kicked it off. They, showed it off at CES. And people were like, we're not quite excited for the device. We're excited what the technology can do. And we were really excited to see Samsung with their Galaxy Fold and Huawei. And we were expecting those two to really kick it off and light it on fire. The better part of the start of the year was dedicated to talking about who's going to get it right, which one's going to figure it out and get it done better. Will it be Samsung or Huawei? And as we started to go throughout the year, there were a number of things that came out that prevented either one of them. In fact, one would argue that Motorola surprised both of them and came out there and stole the show when it came to these folding phones, And really, this is one of those things that when you look at the beginning of the year, kind of see how things kind of unfolded from CES. And again, you look at the Royal Flex Pi, how thick that was, and you started seeing ideas of where we can go with folding phones or folding devices, where we see it go to a style like the watches, where you can fold it around your wrist, or where you start seeing kind of companies come out there and look at making it, a wallet, and kind of where they're going to go with it, how it's going to work, where we can go with the technology, how durable it would be. There was all kinds of questions, but we all knew this. The first year device was only going to really be something to get us excited about and get everything kind of going that direction. Be very expensive, of course, but we just knew that it wouldn't be something you could buy right now, because this with any first year device, it would have some bugs. We didn't know what kind of bugs or what kind of issues would come with it, but we knew it would have something that, at least initially, especially for the price point, would be something that the average customer should jump on board with, and instead just wait for it to get to second and third year devices. But we expected to see a lot more with these things, and really we had a lot of excitement for Samsung and Huawei. And what kind of kept that from happening? Well, we start with Huawei. You had the issues with the trade war kind of keeping them from being able to do anything, because once the Trump administration started placing restrictions on American companies helping them, and then Google had to pull the Play Store from Huawei, it really kind of changed the game where that could go. And that really just took the steam out of that. And then with the Galaxy Fold, when it first came out, you started seeing issues, you know about it, where it just had durability issues, the display was coming off, and people were just crushing it in the media, and they had to pull that device and bring it back and get things corrected before they could re-release it. And even when it was re-released, the cat was out of the bag for the price. People wasn't really wanting to spend that, and it was still kind of one of those things where it's like, it felt so, fragile, as a lot of people said, that they really was afraid to use it. A phone that costs so much, you worry about if you spill something on it, if you dropped it, what would happen. And you know how we are with our phones. It's to the point where, at least I know me, I do put a case on it, because I will drop my phone. And it's not I'm dropping it on purpose, it's just, it happens. So, you want something that's made to be more durable. And these phones initially was not durable. And despite a lot of people kind of criticizing the Galaxy Fold, once I got a chance to put my hands on it, oh yeah, I will say it is something that I want to see kind of be fulfilled or go further as far as going and becoming more than what we saw of it. But this leads me to my question or my thought about kind of some of the things going on with these folding phones. And the reason why, because this week we saw kind of a leak of the Samsung folding phone, and it looks, or the second one they're going to put out, it looks very similar to the one of the Razr, where it folds down like the Razr. And they have me asking a question: which one would I prefer? A phone that fold down like the Razr, or one that fold kind of like the first Samsung Galaxy Fold would have folded in like a tablet? And that is kind of a good question. And when I spent time thinking about it, because I kept going back and forth and trying to decide what would I rather have. And when I got a chance to start thinking about it, for one, I got to give the winner to Motorola, the company. And if you think about what Motorola have done throughout the year, they seem to change the game a lot. You know, Motorola Droid and the initial Razr, and here we are talking about this Razr, how they potentially got it right. And the reason why I kind of like the way of the Razr where you can fold it down is because it do take a phone that's bigger and it answers the question or solve the problem that a lot of us have of making it more pocketable and still keeping what we love about a smartphone, which is all display, allow us to still enjoy what we want, which is crisp video and no buttons and all of that. Now, there are still going to be some things that need to be worked out, such as the display in general. You know, we've gone to where we have glass displays. We loving that. We loving that feel. And because of that, are we going to be wanting to go back to that display where it's kind of plastic? In fact, one could argue and say one of the things that kind of really changed the landscape of where these phones are at have to be the materials. Because remember LG when they had that curved phone where it was a giant phone, basically, and it was curved? Well, even though you had some people kind of did buy it, there were some criticism of just overall durability because the display scratched pretty easily, and people had concerns about that. And as people started going more towards glass, and glass was obviously more durable, you start seeing Gorilla Glass getting even more and more scratch resistant and getting better, and you know the coatings you have on the display and everything getting kind of stronger as far as the materials they use. It's like we will be taking a step back in the way if we go to folding phones as far as the overall materials being used. Because when you look at trying to fold something, are you going to use a lot of metal? That's going to be something that you got to think about. Or you're going to want to use something like plastic, because obviously plastic is going to be able to handle well when it comes to folding, you know, and making those displays kind of be able to endure a little bit longer, especially when it comes to drops. Now, even though it may be more durable to the drops, it's not going to be as durable to something like keys in your pocket or anything like that. Now, one will argue that, okay, if you feel you have your phone folded, you're not going to worry about it because your display is not going to be exposed as much. And that is going to be something as far as questions that's going to be answered in the coming years as we as customers kind of decide which way we want to see these folding phones go. But in a way, I think this is going to be the way we're going to see it go. But I don't think it's going to be the only way. I think we're going to see kind of more of just that being the transition, because I actually do like what the Samsung did with the Galaxy Fold. I like the idea of a tablet that folded into something that's more pocketable. And I think that's what we may see where we have a folding phone and a folding tablet, because we know Microsoft is working on basically a folding tablet where it folds similar to like the Galaxy Fold, where it goes from a bigger tablet and folds down into something like a phone. And this opens up so many ideas and so many ways we can go with this technology, because again, this is something we want. We love tablets, but one of the reasons why we gravitate to phones or bigger phones because they're more pocketable, which means they're more able for us to get to and from wherever we want to go with it. Whether it be you traveling or whatever you're doing, one of the things we just don't want to have to do is lug around a lot of stuff. So we could take something that's a tablet and make it more easyable to manage as far as whether we didn't put it in our pocket. It's going to be something that's going to be more, sought after. So I really think the technology as far as the phone is going to go similar to what we're seeing with the Motorola Razr, and now Samsung will be doing that. And then we're going to see tablets obviously do similar to the Galaxy Fold. Now, I can't wait to see what Apple do with it. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, Apple, look, why are you just jumping on Apple's bandwagon? I'm not, But one of the things I will say Apple do is they do take the technology that people already do. They find a way to make it where it's more, I ain't going to say exciting because that's wrong because they really just market it well. But they do add the materials and kind of give an idea of where the society going to go with it. And I want to see the Apple iPad folded, a foldable Apple iPad. I want to see where Apple go with it because the material that they're going to use is going to be one of the best, I think. And I think they're going to take their time because they want to make sure, when they give something like that to their customer, they're going to charge them good money for it. But one of the things I will say when it comes to Apple, they charge a lot of money for their stuff. You can't quite say the quality is missing or lacking. That's one of the things I'm not saying about an Apple product. It's overpriced. Yes. I don't like their software. Yes. But it's quality. That's something I've not been able to say with the Google Pixel. And I've been critical of that. And because I know what Apple's going to do with the folding Apple iPad, it's going to be quality materials. It's going to be something people are going to enjoy looking at. It's going to really shape where we're going to go with this technology. I can't wait to see them do it. The thing is, I don't think we're going to see anything from Apple when it comes to a folding iPad for at least another 2 years. And really, in that case, that kind of tells us that I think when it comes to these folding tablets, we're not going to see it really kick off and become as dominant, if it is going to be that way, for at least another 2 years. And unfortunately, it's going to take Apple getting in the game before we really see the thing usher off the way we want to. But this is definitely exciting technology. And this is going to be something that is going to be cool. And really, for you Apple guys out there, would you like to see a folding iPhone? Would you like to see Apple actually get into not just a folding iPad, but get you guys a folding iPhone? Is this something that really will be something you would use? Or would you want to keep the iPhone the way it is, untouched, giant for those that got the Max version, or even those that got the regular iPad or iPhone 11? You like it the way it is. You don't want that kind of folding technology come to your phones. I'm kind of curious what your thoughts on that. But I'm going to go to my next topic. And I'm going to talk about Marques Brownlee blind camera test. Now, this is the second time he did it. And by the way, head over to his website, Marques Brownlee, or not website, to his YouTube channel, Marques Brownlee, because he actually started doing the initial posting on Twitter and I believe Instagram as well, asking people their thoughts on camera A, B, C, D, and put them up against each other, and really did like a blind bracket to see where they go. And he didn't even know, the way he did the A, B, or C, or D, kind of how they would go until it got to the end. And he was surprised. And honestly, I was kind of surprised. So let's go ahead and go over his bracket. So the phones he had in the bracket was the OnePlus 7T, Asus Zenfone 6, the Huawei Mate 30 Pro, the Asus ROG Phone 2, Samsung Note 10 Plus, Royale FlexPi, Google Pixel 3a, which is basically the same camera as in the 3XL, in the 3, LG G8X, Samsung Galaxy S10e, Xiaomi Mi Note 10, iPhone 11 Pro, OnePlus 7T Pro, Pixel 4, Sony Xperia 1, Huawei P30, and last, Redmi K20 Pro. And basically the way it panned out was, and I'm not going to give you the winner because I think you should go over this channel to actually see how it panned out as far as who beat what and what. But I'm going to cover the final four and who ended up winning. So I was actually surprised, one, that the iPhone ended up getting beat as early as it did, and that OnePlus 7T actually advanced as far as it did. But it came down to The Pixel 4 ended up being in the Final Four as well with the Galaxy S10e and Note 10. And the winner ended up being basically both Samsung. So I think Samsung ended up winning overall, I say. And the reason I say they won overall because the phone or the camera sensor that's in the 10 Plus is the same one as in basically in the S10e. So Samsung won overall, and that's a kind of big win for them. And I'm pretty sure they're going to enjoy the bragging rights for that. But the reason why I brought this up, because it kind of brings to the point that I brought up last week when I talked about people buying phones and just jumping onto the latest trends and feeling like they need a $1,000 phone because it got the best camera and all that stuff. And I really encourage you guys to watch this video, because when you look at it, you see some phones on there that when you look at the price that you pay for these phones compared to the big dogs on there, really, when you see how this kind of panned out, it makes you think, especially when I started looking at some of the pictures you posted up there. And really what catches your eye, especially on social media, because really when it comes to pictures and the way we consume media, majority of us do experience it based on what we see on social media. A lot of us do. I mean, that's the point of why we have our phones anyway. You know, we go into whether it be Instagram, Twitter, whatever. That's where we're seeing these pictures. And that's what a lot of us posting stuff up at. And what catches our eye on a given day, it all depends on, you know, what you guys see at that point, you know, or what has that pop for us. And there were some pictures I saw, you know, there were some obvious ones that were just dark, or, you know, that ones that were just obviously didn't look, you know, as crisp, that I'm like, all right, yeah, this one is definitely much better than that one. But there was some that you like, man, I could go either way with some of these pictures. And this kind of speaks one that when it comes to camera technology, especially, you know, with phones like Google and Apple really jumping on talking about having the best of camera quality and all that stuff. And they're important. They definitely are, you know, and I would talk about why, and the fact that those who use it for content creating, you know, you can pick up their phone and use that to capture video and photos and use that for uploading content. And that's where that's very important and very good for. But for the average everyday Joe, the person that spends majority of their time on their phone on social media, sending pictures to that way and sharing it that way, you could get away with just, like I said, saving money and just going out there and buying the latest iPhone, unless you just buying it because you want it. And there's nothing wrong with buying something because, hey, that's what you want. If you were able to afford it. But you look, you know, this camera war that we do have, which, hey, I enjoy. I want them guys to continue pushing the limits and the boundaries. You know, just when you look at overall at the end of the day, most people, they can get away just fine with, you know, a cheaper phone. Like, again, the OnePlus 7 is one that surprised me, you know, because when I said it before, when I added the Gcam, the modded Google camera to the OnePlus 7T, there were a lot of photos that look much better, and especially when I posted them online, that I'm like, they look really, really good. And it wasn't something I'm like, yeah, I was complaining about, or like, yeah, this is a bad photo. No, they took some good photos. Were the photos on the Pixel 3 much better? Yes. But for most things and most applications for most people, especially when you look at it, whether it be online or through Google Photos, they look fine. And in fact, as I go back through my Google Photos in the past of photos I took years ago, almost a decade ago, I look at the pictures out there and it's like, they look fine. Now, obviously, if I blow them up and look into it, I can see the difference in camera quality over the years. But just looking at them in general, they look fine. In fact, a lot of these pictures that I took in the past, I still use for everyday work applications, you know, today. And yes, I do see where cameras are getting better. But my point is this. The way we look at photos and look at it, and really we're just capturing or an experience, a time or a point. It kind of gives us a snapshot. It just kind of brings back memories of what we see. And sharing those memories with others and sharing our experience with others. And it's something that I will say this. I understand why we kind of continue to strive for better technology in the camera department, because we always want to see how far we can continue to push that boundary and continue to push the boundary. And that's what I love about technology. But at the end of the day, for a lot of us, especially those that are trying to save money, that's just trying not to just jump on the latest trend because it is a trend, you'll be surprised that you could pick up a phone and enjoy some good photos and not feel like you're missing out and like you're just had to keep up with that. But I look forward to seeing next year's blind camera test to see who win, kind of see not so much about who win or end up losing, but kind of see how far ahead we go when it comes to something like the next camera phone and where we can do or what we can do with it. Real quick before I start jumping into Stadia Talk, just throwing this out there. Both Apple and OnePlus are going to throw out some bounties to kind of crack down on some bugs. If someone's kind of into that, busting bugs for these companies and getting paid for it, there you go. You can win. They're going to put up to a $1.7 million in bounties for those who can find some of the bugs in their software, especially some of the earlier builds, so they can make sure they have a smoother overall experience for customers. But let's get into Stadia Talk. The Google Stadia has pretty much dominated the talk for this week. Actually, all my articles this week were basically on Google Stadia. And look, I told you about having a Stadia. I don't regret buying it. I even am excited to give one away. I think the person that get it is going to enjoy it for what it is. And if you're getting one for free, like this person is going to get it, I think you're going to enjoy it, especially if you have the internet to be able to support it. If you have high-speed internet, you can enjoy or have it plugged in to the Ethernet. You have a ISP that don't have data caps. I think you're going to enjoy the gameplay overall, considering that you're able to play some high-quality gaming through the Chromecast, and that's something big. That said, in one of my articles, I was very critical of Google, saying that, look, you still have ways to go. This is not something that you can sit back and plant your flag and say we're done here, because you have to look at what have you really done. I say that because a couple of years ago, I bashed on the NVIDIA Shield, another gaming system where I was able to play through the cloud. And I played hours and hours of games like Street Fighter and some of these other games out there. And rarely did I have a hiccup. Every now and then I have like a slowdown animation, something very similar to what I have now with the Stadia. But it wasn't to the point where it's like this experience is crappy. My criticism of the NVIDIA Shield TV was the GeForce Now. And it wasn't a criticism of the gameplay. It was a criticism of the lack of games. And this is the same criticism I got to bring to Google. You got to bring the games. And they're looking to try to do that. At least it seems like on the surface. Because, they just purchased Typhoon, a gaming company out of Canada. And where on paper, that looks something that can be really big and be something that can really produce something for them. I want to be fair and point this out. It's not like it's a giant software company or development company. They had 27 employees, and the one game that they worked on will be released in January. So it's not like they put out a ton of titles. So we don't know if this is going to actually pan out to be something that's worth talking about and getting excited about, or is this one of those things where, this is just throwing it out there to get people to kind of calm down, more like window dressing. And to be fair, Typhoon do have some talented employees. You have employees who work for companies such as WB Games, EA, Ubisoft. In fact, one of their employees, was part of the Far Cry gaming. So, and Far Cry, we know, is a very exciting game that is very, highly praised. So, there is potential there, but not so much so where I would say, look at this like it's a big win. I don't see it as a big win. I see it as, all right, they're adding more to their staple. They're at least looking like they're trying to build something up and grow something to get this thing to really stick around. And because of that, I think in a way it kind of calms some of the criticism that people have that's saying that maybe Google is going to do this and just pull the plug in a couple of months, because I don't see them buying all these companies like this and stacking this stuff up just to pull the plug so quick. It's just not good business sense. And I think this is going to make a way for this thing to be around for at least a couple of years. And this is going to be something that we had to see how this pan out and how they stack up against, obviously, the big dogs in the show. Now, they need to focus more on themselves. Don't worry so much on Xbox. Don't worry about what Sony's doing. Worry about what you guys are doing, because people want this to work and they need to fix some things. There are some issues that need to be ironed out and people want answers for. I encountered the issue. Last week after my podcast, I decided to check out some Tomb Raider. Started playing on that, and out of nowhere, now to be fair, I played for a couple hours without an issue. And then I started getting a connection issue, and then it just dropped off and stopped. And I know someone else who had similar issues with gaming and had pointed out having that on the Reddits and the Discord, saying that, hey, I ran into similar problems too. So there have been people criticizing this thing for not working. Now, overall, I have not had a ton of issues, but I did run into that issue, and this came on the heels of having another issue. So Google still has some things they need to iron out with Stadia. And one of the things that I've said that I would like them to do is be more transparent with this. Transparent by saying, okay, look, we know we have this that we're working on, and we want to kind of keep you updated where we're at. Where we're at with stuff like crowd play, some of the things that we kind of promised. Where we at with getting to the point where you really can experience 4K gaming over the cloud like you kind of want. Where are we at with the bugs that people have encountered? And really be there. Now, just because you don't have a solution, it would be nice if you guys came out and said, okay, when it comes to crowd play, you guys are excited. This is where we're at. This is where we're playing with. This is the issue we're finding. And this is our progress with that. We're projecting that we may have this around this time, but we can't promise that time. But we want to at least keep you guys updated, because you guys are founders and the premium members who paid the money, who jumped on board early, the early adopters. We want to at least give you something to look forward to and let you know where this is going. And I think that's the same thing that needs to happen with the issues that people encounter. Okay, we know that there are several people who are having this issue, and these are the games they have this issue with. Or this is the situation that this came up with. Or we're trying to gather information to see, if it was a similar ISP or is it a certain location. And this is what we found so far. And this is what we're trying to iron out and kind of figure out. And if they could do that, I think people would be more forgiving, especially those that jumped on board, because they feel like at least you guys are working on it. You're not just throwing out all this smoke and mirrors and giving us this exciting stuff to kind of quiet us down. Because right after a lot of criticism came out this weekend about Stadia, I wrote an article that was very critical on Stadia and some of the issues that came out, and especially the fact that they went from promising weekly updates to now updates whenever they get around to it. People was critical of it. And again, I was critical of it. And right after that, they then say, oh, yes, we got some news to break for you. We dropped 3 new games: Ghost Recon, Breakpoint, Dragon Ball, Xenoverse. And now I'll go into all that stuff. And then they also went ahead and started talking about that they're going to drop out a gift so that you can give these gifts to allow other people to jump on and get excited about Stadia. And to my criticism of that, like, listen, look, these gifts that you've given us to extend to family members where they can try out Stadia, got it. But I feel like all you're doing is finding ways to use us as your marketing tool to go out there and bring people in. I'm not going to be your tool. I refuse to be your tool. If it's good, I tell people it's good. If it's garbage, I'm going to tell people it's garbage. I am not your tool to be used. And after the issues I encountered, I was fair. I said, look, to be fair, I only encountered once, but I've had hours of gameplay where I didn't have any issues at all. But I did encounter it. So I can understand where people are coming out and saying they are having issues. And I'm not going to just write it off as they're the only ones who have issues. And at the same time, I'm not going to write it off as saying that everyone's having issues. I do think there are people who are enjoying good gameplay. I've enjoyed good gameplay, and I think you're going to be able to enjoy it. So I've enjoyed hours of good gameplay of Red Dead Redemption. So there are obviously people out there enjoying this, but there are issues. And to just try to gloss that over by saying, I'm giving you some gifts to, give to people to bring them in so they can enjoy it. Man, to me, I felt like that's very, a way to kind of quiet the crowd. And then you did say, oh, yes, we're dropping new games, Ghost Recon, Dragon Ball, and Borderlands. And then you announced Typhoon. Again, these are good announcements, exciting announcements. But again, you need to address the issues that people are having. And you need to do more than just drop tidbits of cool, exciting news to try to quiet the criticism. Instead, why don't you address the criticism and really address it, not just try to gloss over and say, like you did with the 4K content, well, we're going to leave it up to the gaming developers, because that's not what you said when you was announcing Stadia back in April, in June of this year. So you jumped on this early, talking about what you want to be able to do. You did the math and was telling how you can provide more teraflops through the cloud than both both the Sony, PlayStation, and Xbox combined. And here people are questioning this and criticizing this and saying, okay, show me what you promised. You promised this 4K gaming experience. Show me that. And your response to that was to deviate from that conversation. And this is why people are kind of still on the fence. Stop deviating, address the concerns, and I think people will be more willing to at least see where you're going to go with it and be more willing to give you a chance to iron out your issues, and let's see if this can actually be worth it. Because yes, Stadia has potential. It has ways to go though, and we want to see it at least I want to see it get there, because I spent money on it. So I want to see the thing get there. But at the same time, this is not the first time I bought something and it didn't pan out the way I expected it. Again, case in point, the NVIDIA Shield TV. And I know I'm probably the only one still critical of it, because I know some people that enjoy it still. But for me, I've been critical of it, and it didn't pan out the way I hoped it did. And I'm hoping that they do that, because again, we got a new Xbox coming onto the scene. Sony going to be announcing a new PlayStation very soon. So they're going to be competing with the new. And if they don't have it at the gaming convention coming up in 2020, they don't have people have the stuff to get people excited. They don't have the games. You could lose people, especially in this day and age where news, you better drop it. You better drop it now, and it better be good, because if you don't get it right and people start forgetting about you, they can move on. And when the cost of stuff nowadays, we got to make the decision what I'm going to invest in, what I'm going to put my money in, what I'm going to buy. If people don't jump on Stadia now, they may pick up something else. And people are not going to buy the same game twice. I'm not buying the same game twice. I bought it on this system. I'm not going to go buy it on another system. I'm not doing that. And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people kind of feel that way, unless they're doing it for a business. So they got some work to be done. And yes, the new games out there, Ghost Recon, Breakpoint, that is something I probably will look at playing. As far as Dragon Ball Xenoverse, a fighting game, I don't know if I want to spend $50 on that right now. I kind of want to wait and see that price drop, or see that become a free game. And then also the Borderlands 3. I'll have to kind of see how that pan out for people. But for right now, those three games, yes, it's added to the staple, but it's not like it's something that's out of nowhere. This is part of the list of games they announced back when they said these are the games we're going to be launching Stadia with. So we knew it was coming. All they did was just trickle it out there instead of just launching one big launch at a time with all the games in the store. We can buy them all or look at them all. They're just kind of trickling each launch little by little. And that, again, is partly why some people are critical of Google as well. It's like, why don't you just go ahead and drop all your games? Why are you just launching little by little? And if there's a reason for it, if you're trying to say, okay, there's a reason why we're doing it because we're trying to test the servers with each game, get that information out to people. Be real. Be transparent. I think if you can do that, people will be more willing to go be patient with you with that. But I think that is going to be one of the things that they need to figure out going forward. But as Christmas kind of get to the point of almost being here, I hope all of you guys enjoy a happy holiday with families, friends, loved ones. For those that got to work, the firefighters out there, the police officers, the emergency medical services, we appreciate what you do, especially our troops, that's fighting overseas, that are at different locations of the world, and, whether it be because you were sent out there to fight a mission, or you're there because you're stationed there. All of you out there that do what you do, that keep us safe, whether it be fighting for our freedom or going out there and putting a fire out, or racing towards danger to, solve a crime, to whatever you guys do to keep us safe. We thank you for that. And those that do that over the holiday period, we respect what you do. Where a lot of people are going to be able to start their morning with their family, exchanging gifts and enjoying their time. You guys are having to do that over Skype or do that from a distance. And you sacrifice that because you're doing it for the greater good, for helping people out. And I think this time we also want to just make sure we acknowledge those people that do that. For those that got family members who are a part of that, and who are having to miss out on Christmas and other holidays, just remember the reason why they're doing it. And I think a lot of you do understand. And, whatever it takes to kind of, have them still feel that they're a part of it. I hope we all can just do more to embrace that and do that. For those out there, over the holiday seasons, looking to decide what to buy, what phone I should buy, what TV I should buy. And, we understand it's a time of year for that. Just be mindful, again, and let's not go broke over it. Don't forget what the reason of the season is, and that's, again, the most important thing. So, guys, thank you again for joining me for yet another week. I don't have a end credit scene this week, or end credit talk. At the end of the credit, it will be over. I can't think of anything to say. So, guys, enjoy a very Merry Christmas with family this week. And look forward to talking with you next week. This is PC747 with the neXup podcast. Have a good week. A very Merry Christmas. I'm out.